ANUNNAKi, which is a program I made. Let me show you a couple things here. I'll start from the beginning. So pretty much it's just a program that runs in the background, and so when you type things in on your screen, it sees the last two keys you pressed. You could change this setting here to make it 1 key, 3 keys, or infinite keys, but I like to keep it on 2. So this is your input here. So you get these two files. You got your db.txt, which is your database. Then you have a se.txt for your settings. And inside the settings, you can change your the length here. It's on 2. So we'll just keep that setting here. And what to know really quick about this these two files. So when you hit Control S on this keyboard, it'll update. It's the program to either the new settings, or it'll just update the database. So what to know too as well is we're running here in Visual Studio Code, and see how it says se.txt-Visual Studio Code. So in order to update, when you hit Control S, you're going to need that file, like Visual Studio Code, and it's going to have to look like that. And you can change that around as well too, but I'll show you that later. But so I'll give you a couple examples here. Like I said, it was the last two keys you pressed. So let's just say like in. See how it sees it down here. So then so that's your input, and then after the input, you could have a space, you could have a colon, or you could have a greater than symbol. So they all mean something different. There's actually the minus symbol too, which means auto backspace the input, and it's the same thing as the space. And so now you got your out. So if you go to save this, and then anywhere on your screen here, you can type that IN and then hit right control, and it'll just do that for you, the output. See how it auto backspaced the IN, and then just like typed out the out. So if you didn't want to backspace, like you would put either this or this, and those mean two different things too, like this this symbol here. So if you were to save that and type it in and run it, it didn't backspace it, but what it did, so now there's a repeat key. You could change this to whatever key, but it's on the scroll lock, or you could hold right control and hit left control, release right control. So like when you hit that, I hit caps lock there. So when you hit that, now it remembers the input, which is the opposite of this option here. So this won't remember the input, but it won't backspace either. So that's so now in the output, you could also like make it press keys too, other keys like the enter key. You could say enter twice, 2 times, and stuff like that. And you got like a little list here. If you hit question mark escape, it gives you a list of what's in there. See, and so you could press things more than once, but you have to have a space and then the number. That's a couple of the basics there. It's important to know. That's some functionality that's brewing in this program. So I'd like to show you as well, like you could connect, like every line in here is its own spot for like you know, so like there's another shortcut right here. You could say like and then you know, anything, whatever. So you could save that. You could do the in, and that'll still be there. You could do the II, and that's in there too. So every line is its own spot for something. So if you want to make this like a multi-line thing, you just you got to put this symbol here before the middle symbol, and as well you got to put this symbol on another line. So the input's on the top here, and then the output's like wherever. So if you save that, and you type in the in and then run it, it's the same thing, you know. So a couple of things, and then there's more stuff here too. So there's something called, I call it is the fall through. So you could put another you know, you could put the II there. So this will if you run this, it'll fall through to this guy, and then if it has an output, it's going to run the output. So if you save that, II, run it, you know, the in is still in there too, and it'll pretty much just do whatever this symbol is here. So you got that ability, and then there's so you could connect things too. So connect looks like this. You gotta have it wrapped in this here. So you can say like in, and then, you know, then you can say like it's gonna be like that. So like if you save that, and to run this guy right here, you gotta first you hit make this bigger. You have to hit the right control first. See how I made the symbol right there? Or like I said, you could hit a F2 as well. F2, you know, that toggles between that. And there's another set button here, pause button, same thing. Or you could hit hold right shift and hit left shift and release right shift. It'll do the same thing. So once you open that, you could type the in, and then you could run that. But now to connect in there, just plop it in there, save it, and so you run that II and just run. You know, there it is right there. So it pretty much ran this, and then it connected over here, and then ran this. But there's a little more there too. So pretty much this version, if you use this version here, it'll just scan. It'll start from the top. It'll try to look for this. Then if it's not there, it'll go to the next line, and then finally it'll hit this. So to make it a little quicker, you just this means downward scan. So that's pretty much just gonna look for this, but it's gonna start at the next line here, and it's just gonna fire. There's also an upward scan, which is this symbol here. So that's in there too. So now if you were to save this, you know, and then run it here, you know, you just do the II and run it, and that's the same thing. So there's more to that as well too. So now let's so you got this thing too. This cuts off anything underneath. You know, it could look like this, but it's really like this. So anything underneath there is gonna, if you save this, there's technically just 3 things in here. You got this, and then this. So now if you want to like check out your database, you know, DB here, and then this is the code for the DB. So now you save that and hit DB. So it'll show you in here. So you can see it compressed it into one line. And then, you know, this your 4 things that are in there. You could also, instead of making this 2, you can make it just 1. However, this thing has to be clear. So if you're like, you know, if you had something there, you hit I, it's not gonna, you gotta clear it. You could put backspace, or you could hit, hold right shift and hit left shift 3 times. And that'll clear it. If you hold right shift and hit left shift twice, it's going to give you that symbol, and that's always going to give you that symbol. So even if you had something there, it's going to clear it to that. It's not going to run it, you know. But like I said, you could have this one symbol, so once it's clear, and you hit I and then run it, same thing, it's going to fall through. So you can put as many as those if you like. Put it like I said, it's on 2. The input length is on 2. So you can't put like 3 here. Let's see what happens if we do. So if I hit I and then run it, nothing happens because it's not there. So you could even do like, you know, control II. You can have stuff like that there too. They'll still fall through. You could even have like this. That'll still fall through. But I show you this DB thing. So if I save that and run the DB. So now, like I said, this is a downward scan. So it's gonna start at this line over here on number 4. See how these don't match up? This is what you want to look at, because you could say even further with this, like this, and you could say, I call it the sanity check. You know, it's looking for so this is on line number 4 here. You could just have line number 4 like this. So if you save that and, you know, run it, it'll just grab the output from line number 4 over here. But if you want like a sanity check, you type in, you know, it looks like this, because that's the code. So pretty much it's just like, yeah, so put the wrong thing in there, like, still. Yeah, there you go. So I don't know why this overrides. But anyways, that's a sanity check. So you got that. So I showed you pretty much all this right here so far. You know, I told you this scans from top to bottom. I told you this starts from the next line. I said this starts above. You know, you could pick the line number, and then this guy right here. So you got that, it's all up in there. So you can connect. What else you got in here? You know, you can make it do a couple things. I like to keep it clean like this. So like when you save it, you know, run that DB. So pretty much, if you have like blank line, it's not going to put it in there. If you have something that starts with a space, it's not going to put it in there. So you could like comment these things. You could say like, you know, this is your input, you know, input connect or something. this is like your main or something. I don't know. You could call it whatever. You could just make it look like something. You could say like this is like show DB or something. And if you save that and then run the database thing again, you know, it doesn't like, it just blocks that out as well. It's just like little notes you could throw in there. So now to if you want to output stuff on the screen instead of typing it out, you have this functionality here. Like you just pretty much, it's like this. You can say like this. So it's this is this code right here, and you just fill it in with something. So now if you save that and then run it, see how it just plops it on the screen over there, but it doesn't go into the new line if you were to repeat it. It's on the same line. To make the new line symbol here, I'm sure you're familiar with this symbol there. Save it. You know, you can run it and repeat. I'll plop that on there. You can also add some colors here. So you want this red, and you want it to go back to white. Save it. Then run it. And there it is. That's that. You'd have custom colors in there too. So you have to use like /0 and then a number and another slash. So like I said, you put /0, and then you know, you say like 43 or something. Save it, and then you run it, and that's that. Whatever that, you know, that's in there. You can change that around to whatever. You can whatever, like it gets bigger, you know. Save that. Let's see what that looks like. So let's turn this on. I'm gonna put this little code in here like this, so you can see what I'm typing. Because right now the show inputs on off. I turned it off, so this is soft setting here. You could say you know, this, you have to call it SI, and auto backspace that, and then it looks like this. So you're doing the setting, you're loading this directory here. And when you save that, so if I open it, what that looks like is it's just I'm turning one of the settings just on, but it's soft loading it. So let's open a DB again. So let's SI this. So now when you typed it, that setting came back. So you got that in there. So you could tell it the time too, which is a slash and a capital T there. Save that and run it. So that gives you the time. So now if you could also, instead of, you know, you can make a print line. That's got to look like this. Save that. So it's all going to automatically put that new line in there for you. I like to go with this one because even if the show input is off, this will still show here. But if your show input is off, or yeah, if your show input is off and you use this guy, it's not going to show unless that's on. That's why I like using this one. there's another little code in here that you could actually make it just show the input, like what you ran here. So if you save that and run it, and it'll, you know, so you hit I and then you triggered it, then it ran the time and with the color and stuff, and then made a new line, and then now this thing right here shows you what you ran. So you got that. So now let's make a little program in here. We'll just call this like T, and we'll give it a fall through TT, auto backspace. So now we're gonna connect to this thing we're gonna make called win run. So let's just put that down here. Windows run. So now when you hit the Windows button and press R and then release the Windows button, it's gonna run this window here. So now we're also going to put a little wait timer in there, because when you run it, it's like not instantaneous. Well, it looks it, but it's not. So let's save that. So now in this program here, I'm going to put like test. I'll save that, and then let's run that. Say T and then run. There you go. There's the little program. Now if you wanted to hit enter, obviously you got to put enter in here. Let's clean this up a little. See what's going on. So obviously when you save it and then run it, that's not really going to do anything. But you could put whatever in there. You could say to load your programs or whatever, your website. But let's look at this Windows Run thing right here. So now there's like this functionality called, it's like if app. So if we were to hit Windows Run, you got Windows with your name. They got names and stuff. So we'll get rid of this here. Let's keep this open. So now inside this program here, if you click on the Windows name, like the window, and you want to grab this name here, it could be whatever window, you got to click in there. You got to click the app first. And then you hit hold A and press escape. So it'll take that information. So now you got this thing called if app. What that does, let's clean this up too so you see a little better. So what that does is pretty much it says like if this app exists, if this with this value here, if it exists, and since this symbol's here, it's gonna put it to focus, so you could type in there. But this just checks it once. Like I said, it's not instantaneous. Where it's so by the time this is done running, and this is gonna run, and then it's gonna go to this line and then run this, and it's gonna give you a false value here because this is gonna run too quick. So let's put this in there. So let's save this. So if we run the T, it's gonna type the test and press enter because that will save this. Let's open up this database in here. So I did something wrong here. I put the wrong symbol here. So let's save that and try that again. So if we were here to T and then run, it's not gonna be quick enough, you know. So it's gonna go false, and it's not gonna continue running, which is not gonna continue onto this. You know, if you wanted to loop till it's true, you'd put that comma there and hit save. Now if you run it, T, see, it worked. Let's not make it hit enter right now. So now to block this out, you could put 2 of these in there. So pretty much dead whatever's, you know, this is dead. So anything under here is going to be dead with this symbol here if you plop that in there like this. So let's save that for now. Let's run that DB again, see what it looks like. So that's what we got so far. So now if we hit T and then run, so that's that loop. We put a loop in there, but see how it had a little lag. If we want to get rid of that lag, you know, so now if you could say run this once every 100 milliseconds and then loop. So if you just save that and then run it, see it still lags. So we know this, it opens up pretty fast. So let's say it's gonna run twice every like 9 milliseconds. This is pretty much what I use here. Just save it and then run it. See, now it looks fresh. Now it works pretty good. So there's other options after this here. Let me show you this first though. So now you got if app like this as well. So it's going to say if that's already on top. You know what I mean? So if this window's already on top, then it's going to continue running. Since it's connected over here, it's just going to, what I mean by continue running is after this thing is done, because we're in here, it's going to do the test. So let's try that. Let's save it. Let's do T and then run. So that window is already open, so it worked. So now it's gonna run now. If we can see what's going on. So if we run that T, see it worked now because it knew it was the program was there. So now if we run it without that window, oh, I'm a little confused here. No, hold on, give me a second. Oh yeah, because we checked twice here, so it's gonna be true eventually. But that's what this does. It's just like if for instance if let's make this a little bit easier, just for this test. So we're gonna redo another tester here. So we'll actually grab same window here, or let me try this. Let's not try this. Like maybe like this. So internally, there's this app here. I gotta use this for this part. So save that, run it. So now that just grab this Windows text. Let's keep this pretty big. So that's what I want. So now we're looking for this app here in this T. And if that's true, just say number 1. So save it. So now notice that if when we save this and So now if we like edit this is a different name here. So for instance, like if we save it and look at the name, it doesn't have that little ball in the front, but when we edit it, the ball comes up. So now there's this thing in here, it's like the OR. So if you were to copy that, you could put like an OR symbol here and paste that in there. Let's put one without the ball. So that just checks for both of the windows, the names, and if that's true, let's make it so you can see. So what happened there was this has to be before the symbol here. So it was like this, but the space has to be after it, because this has to come before that symbol. So let's just turn that into the dash so we see better. So now if we put T and then run it, so now it knows that program's there. So now if we do that in another window, T and then run it, it knows it's not there. So you could make your logic as to your liking there to run the codes. That's what the capital A is for. So now I also said so let's go back in here. So now, like I said, the lowercase will just, if it's there, it'll bring it to the front. Or you got to put this symbol and that'll bring it to the front. But this will just see if it's there, it's going to continue running. But we want it to bring it to the front with that symbol. So now, if it's true, you know, you could say this, you open up this slot here, there's a true and there's a false. So these connect to true or false, depending on the condition. So let's say like if it's true, so now you're connecting to this true here. So, you know, test. Let's just put true. And false. Let's run that. So now T run. So it's true. So let's shrink this down. Let's make that check one time at 9 milliseconds. So that's what that means right there. You can put like, you can make it look a little better like this and save it. T. So it's false there. But it still ran this thing, but it wasn't quick enough. That's why I put it on this setting like this. So now this gets a little deeper here too, because you could say we're looking for the true underneath, or the false is underneath. Let's save that, run it. So that works. So now you could also connect back to this line here. Like for instance, you could say 1. So if it's to make it connect back, you just put that symbol in there like this. So save that and run it. So what happened there? Let me look. So let me run that again. So kind of what happened there was it was true. It hit true, and it hit 1, but it did true again. Did I break something again? Oh, there's 2 tests right here. My bad. That's what happened there, because we were running this thing. I was looking in here. So if this if that connect wasn't in there, or yeah, if it's true, you could even say like this: just keep running. You can make it look like that too. So let's keep those in there for now. But so save that test T run. So that's good. So that works pretty good. I'm gonna reconnect to this. So what happened there was you just follow the logic here. It's in here. Let's just make this a bottom 2 like this, because it knows it's jumping down here. So it's gonna run, and if it's gonna check for this, you know that's gonna be true because we calibrated it. So it's gonna continue. So that's why I said 1, and then that finishes. So then it goes over to here, and that's where it runs right there. There's also if it's false, you could just retry as this, like this. That means retry, like that. There's also inside here you can give some feedback. You put this little tick here. So if you were to save that and then run it, so it ticked once because that's the amount of time it took for this thing to loop. So if this was named something else, like say T and then run it, see it keeps on iterating over this time span here, because we told it to repeat on false. You got so you can expand this too. You could say, like, you could put the colored things in here. You just put the red, and so it's X. You can put it back to white. Save it. So it took 2 times there. And repeat. So let's take it 2 times, because this slows it down a hair. So we put this on 1 millisecond. Let's see how many times. Still the same thing. Let's cut this out. Let's see if the same thing. It's 2 times. This is a little feedback with a expanded feedback. And then there's also this thing at the end too. This means if it's going to be true, it's going to give your final little time. It's going to run that final little milliseconds. Let's put this back to 9. Sometimes you need this little tick here, because even though it's true, and then this will fire true and then keep running over here, but some windows are finicky where you still got to give it like a little sleeper. You can say 1 second here. That's or this is like a default 160 milliseconds. But with this here, that just compensates for that extra little time it needs. Even though it's true, like the window's true, but the buttons or something didn't load on the window, so it wasn't ready. Sometimes this will give you enough time. But if it's, let's just say, you know, it's like just the true or the false here. If this is just like this means like, now it means if it's false, this will just fire. If this is false, if this is false, it's gonna run this. So this is like, the relay is gonna look like this. But once you open it up, and that's, you know, you're saying true and false. But if there's one value there, if it fails, it's gonna run that, connect to that. So you keep it on repeat because we'll have some feedback. So that's how you start making programs in this program. You make your shortcuts. It's a start. It's a start, but it's a little, I don't know if it's confusing, but you might see it nice and clear. That's pretty much the name of the game in this game. So you got the if app, then there's like if RGB. And for this one, you can do the same principle in here. You can say, instead of looking for the app title, which is easy, like for instance, you open up this Windows Run, you know, it's like, it's distinct, you know, you got the white background, you got this blue over here, you know, you got these buttons like this, that color. But so if RGB, you hold, you can't really do it with this window because if you hit R and escape, it's going to escape out of that window. But when you hit R escape, it gives you the values, the RGB of where the pixel's sitting, and then the XY. Same thing, you can put the comma one every 100 seconds, or yeah, every 1 second. You can check it for 3 times. And then you could open up the true and false. So let's demonstrate this. Let's demonstrate this. We'll do another T up here. So we'll go for this little ball right here. But see, when you hover over it and you hit R escape, it's really grabbing that X. But when you're off of it and you're using your program, you really want to see that ball, like the data behind that ball. So there's you can hit G escape. So you hit G escape and then move your mouse away. And now it captured it in the clipboard. Now you paste it, so that's the value there. However, in the settings here, there's a RGB scale layout. This has to be correct. So you go to your desktop, open your display settings here. So the scale's at 250%. So now you gotta know what this is here. So now, like, you look at that, and then you go back to your settings. So now you got to put it in like a decimal form here, 2.5, because if it was 1, like 100, like 275 or something, or you know, 1, that means like 100%. You don't have to put the .00 if it's like a solid number. And like this is 250, 2.5. That's the same thing as this. So you save that. So now it's looping every second, or 160 milliseconds there. So if we were going to trigger a key in here, it'll make that little white ball. There it goes. We hit space and then it made the little ball. Then with this symbol, it jumps to the whatever's true, the XY if it was true. Because you could put like, you know, this has to be this or this and this. You know, the XY over here, RGB XY. It'll just go to the last one that was true. Or the first or that was true. A little explanation here about the if app. You know, stop if false. If that's false, it's going to stop running. This is your loop. You got to use this. Check 3 times. Loop infinitely. You could that comma, or you could use this one in that true and false, this or this. Same thing as a comma in a false. And you got link to false if false. And then open true and false slots with space. That's this. And I got the continue if true or false. You know, you put this symbol in there. Loop feedback message, it showed you all this. Link would continue. I showed you all that. I showed you this. Use the comma and the false slot for retry. It's there right there. And you got I told you about this too. Use this before the closing angle for that final milliseconds delay. And a little example there. You know, I showed you this too. This code here with the new line. Then I told you this is just add auto new line. Then I showed you. I don't know if I showed you, but yeah, I showed you this print input. I showed. So now you could put the little comment in there if you want to comment it out with a space. It won't show. It'll just continue running. I showed you like how to change the colors, the time. Dead the line to the right. I showed you that. I showed you this as well. You can put this code in here, so when it first runs, it'll run this code when the program opens. Well, you know what I mean? It'll just print that, or it'll just print the time. Save it and then close the program, and then when you open it, it's going to do the time. You know, it shows you like, you know, hold key. You could, you know, these right here. This is this to release it. You got to put this symbol in there. These are regular keys, like to press. I showed you to enter, multi-press. Added the 2 in there before. I showed you how to sleep. Add more time to the sleep, and you could chop the sleep up, so you could just hit escape to exit it easier. So pretty much this is going to divide into this, so it's going to chop it up. So, and then you could pause that with F12. So when we save this, you know, let's try that again. We're gonna pause it here. So it's F12. So now I paused it. You can run it again. You know, pause it, or you could run something else. Oh. So the program's paused here. So now you unpause it. You could escape the pause too. Just kill it. So that pauses it completely, so you can't run anything in the background. You can't run anything in the background there. Unpause it, you could hit pause and escape. It'll escape out of there. I thought before I could pause it and then run other things and then unpause it. But I must have changed something. There must have been a reason I changed it. So over here too, like in order to use this multi-line, you're gonna need tabs. So when you hit tab in Visual Studio, it makes spaces unless you set this setting here. These two settings. To make those settings, you just click right here. Plain text. And you add those two settings there and save it. It should work. There's a couple other things in here. You can make it play audio. Either a wave, it has to have the capital A, or the MP3 has to have the lowercase a, and then the word play or stop. You got this replacer thing. I can show you replacer, but I think I wrote about it on the GitHub. You got your message box here. This is basic stuff there. Output speeds. Now, like, you know, once you say if you're gonna output that, you can slow it down with speed. So every second, save it, run it. So it slows it down. And you can see that stuff again. But see what I mean? You get showing the terminal here. So debug too. So like I keep it on 2. There's like 0, 1, and 2. It's started when you first open a program. It's on 0. That means, like, you know, if you were to put like a number here, but if there was like an X or something and it wasn't a number, it would give you an error. So that's what that means. Debug 2 just means that it knows that, like, I could put the errors there and it'll just crash. Show input, I showed you that. Change the length. You can change the length. Control key. So this is the scan code. So now you have to, in order to get the scan codes, you got to put this in 1. And it'll show you a scan code, so you can change that around. But the control key can only be right control in this program, or you could put it to 0. 2 is just like it's like a little limiter, so you don't have to worry about that. So that, in other words, when you hit right control, so this thing's not scanning, or it's not there it goes. We'll set this side window like this. Bottom out here. Alright, there it goes. So like that just means like if you hold right control and let go, it's not gonna do anything. You gotta kind of hit that within that little limiter. Same with the run. You hold it and then let go. It's not gonna see it, but you gotta hit it quick enough. Let's go back to these settings here. You can change the repeat key with the scan codes. Same with the pause key, the F12. I showed you this. The frequency, that's that little comma thing. It's a default thing right here. You can change that around if you want. I'll just keep it on that. And you can change your keys around here too now. So if you hit the key 0, that's a 0. So for instance, see I said F4 is gonna be every time I hit like F4. It's gonna give me that. So you can change that around. And then for all those keys, you could even set them to the control key like this. So that means like that's like they're pretty much the run key. So F2 is like you hit F2 to run or hit F2 to toggle that. So if there's something there and then you hit F2, it's gonna try to look for it. It's gonna run. You could run this the version of the code. So you can set only these KB key versions to this. So I got these two set to that. So right shift, left shift only. So like if that was on, in order for it to see the keys, you have to hit right shift, left shift to open it up. There's an L escape too that toggles that. So now see, I'll turn it off. I hit L escape again to toggle it back on. So let's L escape. So now you hit right shift, left shift. See how now it works, and then you get right shift, left shift again, or the control key. It'll run, and then let's see how it turns it back off automatically because you're in that L escape lock. It's almost like a pause feature. So now this, you can set this to 1, to when it starts up, it's going to be on L escape, and then, or you can set it on 2, right? So if it's on 1, you'll save it and hit L escape. That's locked, L escape. Something's going on with I think when I hit this, or I ran this again, I don't know what happened, I forget. But it's not letting me see the settings here when I hit Control S. So now, when this is on 1 and you hit right shift and left shift, it's going to default to this first instead of the clear. So if you want that option, but if you want it on 2, it'll still be on when it starts, but it'll default to the clear, and then it'll toggle to that if that's like if you're not going to input anything inside the clear. Let's keep that off. So wait a second here. Right shift, left shift. Yeah, never mind. Because there's another option in here where you could hold right shift and hit right control. And that's a whole different thing. I'll show you that in a second. I'll show you that right now. So if you hit, you know, you're in there, you hit right shift and right control, and then you hit something. You don't have to hit that right control. It'll like do the scan for you. But then it'll bounce back to where it was though. So that's like a manual thing. Like it doesn't stay on there permanently. So for instance, if you hit right shift, right control, and now hit T, it's gonna run that. But if you hit T again, it just toggled itself in the background. So that's, I guess, pretty good. Like I said, right shift and right control and a T. Then you don't have to close it or slash run it. So that's another little thing in here. That's pretty much it. That's the settings right there. You could rig this however you want. So auto backspace repeat key. So if your repeat key was like the enter or something, you're gonna want to backspace that enter. So put this on true, which is 1. Your editor, your Visual Studio Code, and then the database thing. So when you hit Control S, this triggers it. This has to be right. Loop insert text. That's like this stupid. Like all that does is oh, I think I just closed the program by accident. I'll show you what that does. Just to get all the settings in there. So now it's like when you hit P escape or something or R escape, like yeah, you can make it do that like this or something. So let's see if that still works. So you want to put let's just close it, or let's just do true and false here. Let's see if that works. So if we hit P escape, actually it shouldn't be in P escape because that doesn't exist because it's not like, it should be in A escape. So that's what that is. But we don't use that. I don't use that. You use it. That's it. I'm sure there's other things. There's a few other things like these. These are easy. It's just going to set the input and then it's going to kill the thing. So you're going to set it to that. Or it just says it was going to set it to I. So save it. Now if you had a 1, 2, 3 here, I don't think it's going to run that because this, like I said, it returns. So T, and then run that. So now if you hit, see how it's left the I in there? So now if I hit I again, see, it's just like pretty much puts that in there for you if you want to. You can do some couple things with that. Then there was this one. That's like you set your repeat. So let's just set it to like Windows Run or something. I'm gonna save that. So you hit T and then run. Now if you hit repeat, so that's instead of it repeating, remembering the repeat for this, it's gonna, that's your new repeat. You can say like, because you would think it would just like repeat the 1, 2, 3 and then that. So T and run. So it just ran that, but now if you repeat, there it is. That's that. And then there's this other one. This one's a little crazy too, which is detach run. So what this means is like, so how can we do this here? You know, put the 1, 2, 3 there. Let's make it a link to X. 3, 4, and 5 or something. Let's just see what that does. So you know, you see like it goes here first and then it runs that. But let's just say this had like a sleeper in there for like a second. I save it, and now you run it. See it. See what's going on in there. It just like detached it. So that's in there. This like here if clipboard. I can show you a couple more things here. So it's like, so if clipboard is equal to like X, you know, say, you know, run this, so save that, hit T and run. So that was false, but if you put this in your clipboard, you know, Control C, and then hit T and run, that's true. You could say if clipboard is equal to, if it's not equal to, if it's a number, if it's greater than or greater than equal, or if it's you can't put the greater than. You got the G for the greater than, or you know, you can put less than equal. It's all right there. You can put that. This regex find, or actually I'll show you something too. So now there's also this too right here. This is in the version .8, but this is I'm gonna put .9 coming up. I'm just gonna post the updates because this isn't written in there, but this is like the counter. So say like you had some loop going on or something. It's probably not recommended, but you could try it if you like. And then you're just constantly printing like the number 1. You put a little sleeper in here, save it, hit T, and then run. So then you escape. You can say like let's make this a backspace this thing. So let's put the counter in there. You can say the counter or +1 to the counter. Let's just see what that does. So this is just like, it's in the back, it runs in the background. So now that you could say like, if the counter is like a certain number to exit, if the counter, let's say if it's like, it's gonna equal like 10, that's gonna exit. I think it's gonna work. I'm not too sure. Yeah, see if it hit the 10 and just, stop. You could also say like, you could open up this slot too and just say connect to this if it's 10. You know what I mean? But let's try that again. Pretty sure the counter always resets itself there. So it always resets itself. If you wanted to manually reset it, it's like times 0. That's like the counter times 0, it's going to be 0. You wouldn't want to reset it in a loop because this is going to run forever. So that's like a loop. So let's just say like number 6. That still works. So this ain't right. So now it's going to be number 5. Should have it look like that. So you got if clipboard, and there's like the replacer, replace. So this is gonna replace whatever's in the clipboard, and like you want to change the X to a capital X. You save that. Let's see what's in the clipboard. So you still got the X, so now if we run it, T and run, now you paste it. So you got the big X. This is like regex here, so you could say like, you capture that, and then you can put the $sign thing in there. Let's oh, let's T run it. So there you go. So captured it, and then you put the X first, and then that X. There's the. You can see this better with this. Like that means like the new line in Windows. So let's do like this. So let's just capture this with the clipboard. X that, Control X. Save it, run it, and I'll paste it. There you go. pretty much it. This if XY. So if like the mouse is going to be in that certain location, to run it. If the clipboard starts with the value, ends with the value, if the length is correct, you got its own find in there. And besides, it's got its regex find. I didn't test these two, so these might not work. One of them works, but they might both work, but I have to look into that. I don't want to feel like doing it right now. But this is like the syntax. It tells you like what you could put there. There's that first tick for the feedback. And then there's like, these have to be separated by spaces. These values. And then it goes up to there. And then you could put the and symbol there. And the same, and a different value. So this is how many times it's going to run, for how many milliseconds. And then you could chop that up with another number, but you have to have a space there. And then there's a true and false separated by that comma. And then there's the final tick. You can uppercase the clipboard, lowercase it with the code. That's simple. So let's just copy this. Copy that, save it, run it, paste it. That's that. Got your message box here, yes, no. So this one's it's pretty weird, because you can say like title and then the message. Save it and then run it. So it pops it up somewhere. There it is right there. So you could say continue running, like it'll continue or no. So you say like this, like save that, run it. So that message box pops up. If you yes, see it'll continue. But to make this box pop up in the front, all the way in the front, that might require like this. I'm not too sure. I would think it would be this, because the title is let's just link it to X. And then let's keep it on loop, because you're gonna bring it to the front. I don't know if this is gonna work. Yeah, it worked. So now in here too, you want more than one, like, because if you put like title, name, save it, run it. See, this is put the name down here, name message. Hit no. You gotta put like a /s for space. Save it, or slash. I think it's a slash like this. Let's try that. There it is. Let's exit out that loop though in the background, because this will be title name now. There it is. That's it. If I could remember anything else, I'll let you know. See, I told you like the input. Here's the middle symbol. It's this and this. Use that for backspace. Or this and this for backspace. This is remember to clipboard. This is for new line. You put this before that middle symbol. That's the links. But when you use the links, you probably want to, you could use these down here. Right here, use that symbol right here. Or the upward scan. That's it. Alright, I'm going to celebrate April Fools, guys. I'll make some more videos if you like. Peace. Stay healthy. Let me know what you think about this program. I would like your feedback. Give me some let me know, man. Let me know if it works for you. I know it's a lot of people don't use the Windows, but this is nice to have inside Windows here. You know what I mean? You can load your codes, quick codes. I'll give you an example here. I got my YouTube downloader Python. You know, I grab a link and it'll just like crack open that window. If that window's not there, it's gonna run that window for me. But if it's there, it's gonna continue. Or you know what I mean? You see the logic here. I'll grab that window right quick. Got my Brave browser and incognito quickly. You know, a couple things in there, a couple links in there. And this thing right here, this is in order to let's turn this on. So let's get rid of this. So let's turn all that stuff back on down there. So so if you hit Control the AL, actually it's AL for Alt, right Control. In order to make that work, because like the only way this is gonna work is if you like, because if this program, if it like hits one of these symbols when it's running, it's gonna think it's gonna think it's gonna run the Alt. So how you gonna type that? So you gotta make it say like, you know, like Shift. I'll just show you down here. Where's it at? Yeah, like see, you gotta make it say Shift and then the comma to get that symbol, and then you gotta type it out, and then shift that symbol again, and then finish it, and then move the cursor over left 6 times. You know what I mean? You got, you know, Control here like this. So if you want to speed type or speed make these things, you got time and date. You know what I mean? That's in there. That's not actually in the I don't think I wrote it here, but that's in there. That time thing. Or you got this one just for the numbers. That's just gonna give you the numbers, not the day and all that stuff. I got these cool things in here. It makes it quicker. See what I mean? It's nice. I use it for I go into this mode here, beats. So I try to make some beats. I got some beats. So if you know, I run the beats. So now I'm in beat mode here. It changes my database. My secret weapon here, guys. So my Tractor Pro, if I hit like left, because this is for L, you know, it captures the in and out. So just move to that mouse and it'll capture that. You know, on the software, it'll like click it and stuff for me. So, because it's quick. I don't want to show you all my secrets there, but you know, you just got, this is what you make. This is what the program's for. It makes your life easier. You don't have to buy extra hardware. You use your keyboard. Make your little soundboards and stuff. You know, so pretty much it's like you know, prints out the, turns it into green. Turns the color off, or so I could or turns it toggles something here, the color, so you could write like certain characters in here, because when you write this character, it's gonna look for like if there's an N in front of it or something, it's gonna, like, if the, because in this artwork, if this had like an N in there, it'll actually make the new line character, because it'll think it's this and the N, but you can put a space in there, and anyways, and then it puts it back to white, and it loads my settings. It just it's good. It's good. So so that's ANUNNAKi. Enjoy.